Red October has come and gone, but with Team Toyota's home field advantage, you'll score even more savings this offseason. Choose from our winning lineup of new Toyotas, like Corollas, Camrys, RAV4s, and Highlanders, all in stock for immediate delivery. Or ship over 200 certified used Toyotas with MVP pricing to deliver quality and value. And when it comes to service and collision repair, our team gets you back in the game fast. So visit us in Langhorne, Princeton, or Glen Mills, or take a swing online at teamtoyota.net. Welcome in. You are listening and or watching the Phillies Talk podcast presented by Team Toyota. I am Spencer McKercher, and I am happy to welcome my co-host back. Sean Kane is back after a busy week down in the winter meetings. We didn't really have a pod scheduled until maybe even next week before the Christmas break, but here we are, Sean Kane.
Yeah.
There's news, and it's big news.
Tough to get to.
Tough to get to.
Yeah.
Tough to get to some of these days, but
yeah,
the Phillies made a signing. And in my opinion, and I think most of Phillies social media disagrees with me, whatever, it's a big signing. In my opinion.
It's a big name.
It's a big name.
Yeah.
And I think it's a name that Phillies fans will grow to love. And that's Adolis García. They signed the right fielder to a 1-year, $10 million deal. It's the same deal that Dave Dombrowski and company gave Max Kepler just a year ago. But before we get into that, Sean Kane.
Yes.
We like to start off topic always. I was thinking we need to make a segment name for that.
Okay.
And I'm going to start with this first.
Okay.
Michael Barkan today, as we sit down here on Monday night. Michael Barkan brought in a whole tub of bazooka gum.
Sure he did. Why not?
And I was going to chew it while we were doing the show to kind of promote it. And then I couldn't feel my mouth.
Yeah.
And I can't feel my jaw.
Yeah, I was going to say, you really get to chew that stuff.
Dude.
When I was a kid, I used to have that a lot. It's a workout.
It is a workout. And it's the best 5 seconds in the history of gum. But then it gets pretty rough from there. But we were saying, all that to say, so inside, just like the old school bazooka, there's normally baseball guys. I open it up, it's Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah, it's strange. Yeah, I remember from my childhood it being baseball centric.
Right?
Yeah.
I thought it was normally baseball guys. And then Jason Kelsey was on it. We had DK Metcalf in one of them.
Very curious.
Very interesting.
Things have changed. But yeah, normal behavior. Michael B. bringing in a whole tub of bazooka gum on a Monday in December.
Where did he get that from?
I don't know. I know he had his holiday party past weekend,
Sure.
so I don't know if that was something they're handing out to the guests. I'm sure people are pretty excited to walk into Michael's holiday party and get some gum. He had some Mike and Ike's over there, too, or Good and Plenty's.
Good and Plenty's.
Good and Plenty's, yeah.
Not a Good and Plenty guy.
Yeah, no, me neither.
Not a Good and Plenty guy.
All right.
But here we are.
Yes.
So bazooka gum.
Yeah.
And Adolis García.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's dive into the
bazooka for a right arm.
Oh,
how about that?
There you go.
He's got a good. That's one of the best outfield arms they've had in a while.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. And as I mentioned off the top, it gets me excited. And we couldn't find it, but there was a podcast at some point pre-trade deadline, and it was a name that I brought up because he excites me.
Yeah,
and
we
I
talked
know
about him for sure. Yeah.
For sure. And I know. And we'll get into it. We're going to dive into all that stuff. Plus, we have an interview with NBC Sports Philadelphia.com, Cole Weintraub. He joins the pod for the first time. A great dude. Looking forward to that a little later in the show. But the bats or the numbers at the plate aside, especially over the last 2 seasons, you got, in my opinion, one of the best defensive right fielders in all of baseball.
Yeah, no, the metrics would agree with you. He defensively is rated certainly much higher than the incumbent right fielder who remains on the roster, but obviously we all expect that to change in the coming weeks or months. Of course, we're talking about Nick Castellanos. And now I mentioned the arm for Garcia is very strong, plays a better right field. You mentioned the financial terms, 1 year, $10 million, the same deal as Max Kepler, and they're kind of banking on Adolis Garcia now to be that bounce-back candidate that they had hoped Max Kepler would have been. Obviously, they didn't get quite the results they were looking for from Kepler, but yeah, he's got some pop. He's not the hitter he was in 2023 when he was the ALCS MVP, and he was one of the driving forces behind the Rangers winning the World Series. I mean, he was one of the stars of baseball. He's been a couple-time All-Star, and he had a great postseason in 23. Hasn't hit like that guy in 24 and 25. Average is way down. OBP is way down. Still got a little pop, but 19 homers, 75 RBIs last year in 135 games. But yeah, you'd like to see the swing and miss cut down a little bit because he strikes out a lot.
He does.
He chases a lot, which is obviously a thing with this Phillies group. But there's something there to like. Like I'm not trying to I'm not trying to be the dark cloud guy here. Like I think it's for $10 million. Take a look at him. Get him in here with Kevin Long. Get him in here with the Phillies hitters, and maybe CBP wakes him up a little bit, and he can recapture some of that form at the plate that made him one of the most feared hitters in baseball at one point.
And yeah, I guess in 2023 he was really that feared hitter. 39 home runs.
Yeah,
brought in a bunch of runs. He was that guy, and I still think maybe he injured that patella tendon, and I think that really kind of derailed his 2024 season, and maybe even a little bit of last year. But as Cole mentions too, when we get to him, I think it's just like Nick. It's a good change of scenery for a guy that really kind of made a name for himself with the Rangers organization. He was obviously drafted by the Cardinals. He's a high draft pick.
Yeah.
That didn't really work out. Ends up with Texas, takes him to the World Series. You mentioned the ALCS MVP.
Yep.
And again, it's just a change of scenery and a change of ballpark for him where I think he's that energy guy. And that's why I do think Phillies fans are going to end up loving this guy, whether he is batting 230 or whatever he does hit.
Yeah.
It's similar to Kyle, right? Where Kyle had that 197 year where he hit 197, but he still had 38 home runs that season. So like, I don't know if we're going to see 35 plus home runs from Garcia, but if you give me 25 home runs next year and see what that leads to in years following, I'll take it. I'll be happy with that.
Interesting, like the outfield mix now, like you're assuming Garcia is your right fielder. To me, the tea leaves are they're probably a little more comfortable with Justin Crawford in left field and center field. Bader's still out there. Obviously, Marsh is still on the roster. So how might this impact the plans? Because obviously there's still work to be done in the outfield, but at least a little clarity as far as one position, and then where do they want Crawford? And then if they want Crawford in left, what are they doing in center? And if they want Crawford in left, are they going to let him play every day? And what becomes of Brandon Marsh? Is Brandon Marsh a part of a platoon in center, or is Brandon Marsh maybe heading out of town? So we'll see, but finally, I guess a piece of the outfield puzzle kind of comes into focus a little bit.
It is, and we'll dive into that after Cole and the ad break too, because I saw some tweets and stuff on social media saying that this kind of spells the end of Harrison Bader coming back. I disagree.
I think that's necessarily.
Yeah, it's a $10 million contract. It's really not too many, it's not that much off the books. And I think I saw something, basically it's like a 95% tax. So technically they're giving him like $19.95 million this year based on the luxury tax. But then again, I don't know, man. It's funny that we joked about that, but like, it's a swing and a miss. It could be a swing and a miss, but I think it's going to be a home run.
Yeah.
I do. I really do think that he's going to kind of solidify the outfield. And it's the first time, in my opinion, that's the first time that they've had a solid defensive right fielder with a cannon arm. We really haven't seen Johan Rojas and Brandon Marsh and even Nick Castellanos have that gigantic nuclear arm like Adolis Garcia has. So I think that helps you a lot. Again, 16 defensive run saves, the most in all of right fielders in all of baseball. He beat Fernando Tatis, who was the platinum glove winner in right field this past season. I think it's great.
Yeah, and if it's not, it's not. It's a one-year deal for $10 million. So, but yes, I think your optimism is well-founded. I think there's various things to like. Change of scenery guy, you mentioned it. He gets into Citizens Bank Park, and that atmosphere maybe charges him up a little bit. I'm sure the fans will be excited to see him. And yeah, defensively, the proof is there that he is an upgrade. And even before Castellanos, when Harper was out in right field, Bryce was a good athletic right fielder, but certainly not a cannon for an arm type of guy. So gives him something they haven't had in a while out there, which will be a welcome addition. So yeah, I think on its face, it's a fine move. I'm not, trying to sell anybody that this guy's going to come in and hit 38 home runs like he did a couple of years ago. But, I think there's some room for improvement offensively, and, he's playing for his next contract, which is always a good thing.
Now, do you think a guy like Kevin Long can get Garcia back to that 2023 level that we saw him at?
Yeah, I don't know quite 2023 level, but yeah, I don't think it hurts. Like, Kevin Long has never obviously worked with him, but he'll get his chance. And Kevin Long, I think, despite some of the grumblings of the fan base over the years, I still think he's, if not one of the best, hitting coaches in baseball. So yeah, get him with them and get him with some of these veteran hitters and these guys that have been around a little bit, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I think so. I think there's reason to expect that Kevin Long gets a little bit get a little more out of him, get the strikeouts down a little bit, get the hard hit ball rate where it is, and maybe hits you 25 home runs, and maybe the average is up a little bit. Maybe the strikeouts are down, and plug him into that 5-6 spot in your lineup or wherever you want to hit him, I think that's a good thing.
That was gonna be my next question. I think depending on where Kyle Schwarber or Rob Thompson decides to put Kyle Schwarber, which we'll get to. We haven't even got your opinions on Kyle returning.
Yes.
But wherever he puts him, I think it now solidifies your 4-hole, in my opinion. In my opinion, I think he's a great 4-hole hitter. I know the averages don't show that, and I'm sure with runners in scoring position, their numbers aren't great, but that's a solidified 4-hole hitter, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's an option there for sure. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see like what Rob Thompson does with the Harper Schwarber. Like last year, obviously he was pretty set in the Turner, Schwarber, Harper, 1, 2, 3. Might he look to mix that up a little bit? Might he flip Kyle and Bryce to protect Bryce a little bit more? But then who's protecting Kyle? It's kind of the chicken or the egg thing there, which is why they could use another bat to kind of be that guy in the middle of the lineup to protect whoever's hitting third. Or do they try to get a righty in there somewhere to split those two guys up? But the way Schwarber hits lefties, I don't think it's much of a concern, clearly, to have Harper and Schwarber back-to-back. And Bryce does just fine against lefties, too, in general. So lineup questions, still not all into focus yet. Like, we'll see who else gets brought in here. I still think there's a trade or two coming. I still think Alec Bohm is a prime candidate to be moved, and if they can get something back from him, a bat, maybe that's another 4-5 type hitter there, a 4-5-6 type guy, depending who they bring in.
And real quick too, so he'll be 33 in March, so kind of he fits right in with this veteran roster that is already established. Cool thing though, he becomes the very first Cuban position player to wear a Phillies uniform since 1983.
Tony Perez, right?
Tony
Perez, man, the Wheeze Kids, 83. You remember that group?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
In the back of the memory.
Yeah, the Tony Perez, Joe Morgan, Michael Jack getting up there, Pete Rose. You get the Wheeze Kids reference?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm locked in.
Playing off the Whiz Kids.
Correct.
Yes, the old guys in 83.
Right.
But yeah, Tony Perez is great, obviously. Great player. And that's crazy. I didn't know that, the Cuban connection there. He's the first since, and we're talking over 40 years. So that's pretty cool. Very cool.
And there's another name out there, Cuban-born.
Okay.
They could slot in that outfield just as well.
Oh, interesting. All right.
Luis Robert Jr.
Yeah, we've talked about him quite a bit. Yeah.
Could.
I saw a report that the Phillies are one of the teams checking in.
Yep.
All right, check-in season.
That is check-in season.
Yeah.
It is check-in season.
Okay.
Just some.
Why won't the White Sox trade him? Sorry, you want to move on?
No.
I just don't understand why the White Sox seem to refuse to move him. Sorry.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
What is it the return that they want?
I don't know. Maybe I guess they're asking for a price that they're not getting. Maybe that's a sign to them that maybe they're not asking for the right price if they can't. 2 years now, they haven't been able to move them, off-season or deadline.
I feel like it feels like a decade.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah, it's weird. Team in their position, but whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Just some fun, advanced analytic numbers here.
Yeah.
So he'll be 33 in March, like I mentioned. So currently he logged a 46.7 hard hit rate in 2025. However, his chase rate on pitches off the plate had spiked from 29.5 in 2023 to 35.1 in 2025. His overall contact rate in 2025 sat about 5 percentage points shy of league average, and a 79.5% contact rate on pitches within the zone is 6 percentage points shy of the average.
Yeah, so that's not great.
And like I said, his walk rate is not good.
No.
And he's one of those guys, though, maybe Kevin Long comes in here, changes his whole aspect on not looking for pitches that he wants to hit. Because he does. He swings out of the zone a ton. And I saw the comparison today. Him and Nick have very similar numbers at the plate.
Right.
But I think that it's such a mammoth change in the outfield defensively that it's acceptable, and you kind of brush that away and hope Kevin Long and this Phillies organization give him a fresh start where that bat kind of comes back to form.
Yeah, you hope so. Defensively, it's an upgrade. Is it tough to teach an old dog new tricks? You mentioned 33 years old. Can you get the guy to completely revamp? But, you've seen Kyle Schwarber kind of revamp the way he approaches things and the changes he's made and the upgrades he's made in his 30s as a hitter. He's not just a home run hitter now. He's a complete hitter. But that's, there's not many Kyle Schwarbers out there. So, yeah, I'm not holding my breath that, Kevin Long's going to work magic on this guy, but I do think it's fair to expect a little better version of the guy you saw in 25 offensively. And, we'll see. Like I said, it's a one-year deal for him, so he's got a lot to play for. Phillies, $10 million is $10 million. They're not taking a giant risk. So if they can cash in, they're due to cash in on one of these bounce back guys.
At some point.
These Whit Merrifield and
Max
Kepler. Yes, exactly. One of these guys might give them a little something that they can kind of cash in on having a bounce back year.
And those are all right-handed bats that they kind of just tried to plug in and be like, hey, please work. And they haven't.
Yeah.
I guess Max is a lefty, but still.
Right.
The experiment hasn't worked.
No.
And I think that's where Phillies fans are kind of on that balance beam of I don't love it or I love it.
Right.
Because it hasn't worked previously the last 3 or 4 years where they go out and get Austin Hayes and Whit Merrifield and some of those guys.
These prove-it deals.
Right. Bingo. Last thing about Garcia before we hit Cole and then get your opinion on Schwarber and kind of what this means for the rest of the offseason for the Phillies.
Yeah.
So against left-handed pitching, it's not great.
No.
So 2024 and 2025, he hit .215 with a .394 on-base percentage.
394 on base percent or OPS?
No, .668 OPS.
Okay, so 394 OBP isn't bad.
Not terrible. .274 slugging.
Okay, that's bad.
Yeah, that's not great. Yeah. And only 12 home runs compared to right-handed batters where he hit .229, or he slashed .229, .279, and .399 with a .678 OPS, but 32 homers and 115 RBIs.
Okay, interesting.
So definitely way better against right-handed pitching than left-handed pitching, but I don't know if that's
weird that the OBP
problems.
is so much higher against lefties than righties.
Right.
Yeah.
It is strange.
Interesting.
But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Again, I think it's just an unbelievable signing in terms of defensive upgrade.
Yeah.
And you needed a solid right-handed bat in there that has power. There's your power, and hopefully you can find it. So, all right, we're going to hit the ad break. On the other side of the ad break, we sit down with Cole Weintraub of NBC Sports Philadelphia.com to get his thoughts on the signing. And then after that, we'll catch up on Sean's thoughts about Kyle Schwarber returning and what means or what's left for the Phillies to do in this offseason.
Yep.
Sean Kane, the holidays are right around the corner. Do you need some holiday gift inspiration?
Who doesn't? Absolutely.
Well, escape the cold and catch the Phillies in Clearwater with NBC Sports Philadelphia and Phillies Sports Trips. We're teaming up to bring fans the most unforgettable Phillies spring training experience yet. This trip includes Phillies game tickets, beachfront accommodations, round-trip travel, all-inclusive tailgates, and much more. Plus, appearances from Larry Boa, Charlie Manuel, and NBC Sports Philadelphia's own Ben Davis.
Wow.
Can you imagine Benny down there with the fellas?
That's a party. Charlie, Larry, and Ben down there. I mean, sign me up. It looks like an awesome trip.
You and I will be down there. Book your trip today at phillysportstrips.com. Welcome back into Phillies Talk, presented by Team Toyota. I'm Spencer McKercher, and I'm honored to be joined by Cole Weintraub, writer for NBC Sports Philadelphia. And Cole, you were just telling me the story. It's one of those moments and kind of days where you were saying, we're busy. It's morning time, kind of getting into that early afternoon. And when something like the Adolis Garcia news breaks, you kind of stop everything you're doing and you dive right into it. Tell the story of what you were doing and how exciting it is now that Adolis Garcia is a member of the Philadelphia Phillies.
Yeah, I was driving back to go see some family over the weekend, coming back home. Had to pull over to break the news. This is a big pickup for the Phillies. We figured that they were looking for something more steady in their outfield with the presumed moving on from Nick Castellanos. So you bring in a guy like Adolis Garcia, and you got to drop everything you're doing. This is one of the second tier free agents that the Phillies were interested in from the jump, being a right-handed bat. So yeah, it was a good pickup for them, and I think he'll come back to form based on that 2023 season that he had, which was so good, which we'll break down in a minute.
100%. And I think you and I were just kind of talking before we got started here. I think if you get that 2023 version of Adolis Garcia, the sky's the limit for this Phillies team. Now, and again, people are going to talk about the numbers the last few seasons. I think he was battling that injury in 2024 with the patella tendon and kind of getting through that. But before we even get into the bats, I want to talk about his defense. His defense, he's arguably one of the best defensive right fielders in all of Major League Baseball. He had 16 runs, defensive runs saved over all of last season, which beat Fernando Tatis, who ended up winning the Gold Glove. But when you add something like that, I think it's a mammoth change of what they've had with Nick Castellanos. And we'll get into Nick here in a little bit. But going from 16 runs saved to minus 12 saved from Nick Castellanos, I think it's the biggest improvement that the Phillies could have made in the outfield.
And when you look at Adolis Garcia, he's sort of a muscle hamster. You wouldn't necessarily expect that sort of part of his game, but it's really what the Phillies need. It's something steady. They're looking for a middle of the order bat, but also a great defender. And Castellanos could make the plays in right field, but in terms of his range, that's where he lacked. And I think that's what Adolis Garcia brings. Yes, he's on the wrong side of 30, but when you're talking about 16 defensive runs saved, according to Fangraphs, that's one more than the Platinum Glove winner and Fernando Tatis Jr. out in right field. So you're getting a guy that's bringing you to a whole another level defensively. And I think at the very least, those numbers between he and Castellanos offensively are just going to match.
And that's, I think, seeing the reaction on social media, it seems like that is kind of the mindset of Phillies fans right now. It's like, bat-wise, you're going to get maybe a similar output from Garcia or from Castellanos to Garcia. But we don't know. We've seen the magic of Phillies hitting coach Kevin Long and what they can do to bring out the most of it. And I know people have said it's a high-energy pickup. We've seen the big moments that Garcia has had. Heck, he had the walk-off home run in Game 1 of the World Series in 2023 against the Diamondbacks. He's had the big-time moments, and I think just coming to Citizens Bank Park and playing in front of these fans here is only going to increase that, and we could see improvement for Adolis Garcia at the plate. But what are your expectations, Cole, for Garcia at the plate this year? Do you think Kevin Long will have that kind of impact on a guy like that?
I do, and I think it's a guy that struggled against hitting the fastball in recent years. So I think Kevin Long's going to get him back to putting bat to the ball, because this is a guy who's sitting right around the 90th percentile in average exit velocity. So when he makes contact, he can send it out. He's surrounded by some of the better hitters that he's had in his entire career with this Phillies lineup. So he's got lineup protection. He's also providing protection for Bryce Harper. I think at the very least, if he can return to 250 and maybe an on-base percentage just a hair over 300, but provide 25 to 30 homer power, I think that's in the realm of possibilities. But it's really going to boil down to, can he hit fastballs? Because, you know, the NL East, we've got some flamethrowers, and they're going to test them high in the zone, and that's where Kevin Long's going to go to work.
That he will. And it's exciting because I think it's the second straight year that they've brought in somebody for the outfield on the same contract. We saw Max Kepler get 1 year for $10 million last season. We see the same thing with this, but I think, in my opinion, I think the upside of Garcia is a little higher than Max was last year. We saw Max kind of come through that with the power late in the season. Obviously, he struggled early on. But I think with Garcia, I think his ceiling is much higher than Kepler's was last year, because of the accolades and because of what he's been before in previous seasons.
And he's just a better fit. I mean, all off season long, you know, been ringing the tune of right-handed hitter, need a middle of the order power bat. And that's what Adolis Garcia is. Kepler, he was fine. I mean, he did just about what we expected, but for Adolis Garcia to come in, yes, he's got a lot of swing and miss in his game. And I think many Phillies fans might be maybe turned off on that note, but with his power, what he can bring offensively, he can drive the ball to all fields. And I think he's going to be able to reap the benefits of Citizens Bank Park. It's hard to hit in that ballpark in Arlington. So if he can just get into the order on an everyday basis, and the defense is going to allow him to do so, he is that high upside, buy low candidate that Dave Dombrowski in the front office is looking for.
100%. And it's exciting. And you and I talked before the show, and I know Sean and I will get to it here at the end of this, but it's a guy that I've wanted on this team for quite a long time. And as soon as the Rangers non-tendered him at the end of November, it's a guy that, why not? Why not go give him? It's a cheap option. He was projected to make around $13.5 million or $16.5 million if he stayed with the Rangers last year with arbitration and all that fun stuff. But I think it's just the upside is the limit. Now, Cole, give me something that maybe you've seen in the research of the last, few hours that could maybe not get brought up by, a casual Phillies fan, or something that, it's a stat, could be anything. And I know his walk rate is low, right? And that's something that I think could improve with Kevin Long, but give the Phillies fans something that is exciting about Adolis Garcia that they might not just see looking at the back of his baseball card.
Well, I think if you dive into the splits a little bit, he is a right-handed hitter who actually hits righties better. So I think from that sense, splitting up the lefties and righties and placing him into the middle of the order, his numbers have always been reversed in terms of his OPS. And he's a guy that's able to produce runs, and that's what you're looking for. You're looking for someone that not only can create runs but can drive them in. All throughout over his last 5 seasons, he's hit 141 home runs over the past 5 seasons, but he's been able to drive in runs. And when you have guys like Seager and Semien hitting atop that Rangers order, there's constantly guys on base. So it's going to be fairly similar with him in Philadelphia, but it just feels like a better fit. And just like we've talked about with Castellanos, just new scenery, just a breath of fresh air potentially at Citizens Bank Ballpark.
That's a perfect way to look at it. I think it is going to be a nice breath of fresh air for Adolis Garcia. And to wrap up here, Cole, Sean and I just talked about it before we got started, but what do you think this does entail? Obviously, in my opinion, I think this does spell the end of Nick Castellanos as a Philadelphia Philly. Whether they find a trade partner, we've heard rumors of them trying to really try to find a trade partner for Nick. But I think it could come down to maybe the end of January, they just let him go, release him, and hopefully best of luck to him wherever he signs then. But is there more out there now? Because now Adolis Garcia is your right fielder. Where does that put Justin Crawford? Where does that put Brandon Marsh? Could they be looking to still move on from Brandon Marsh? These are questions still to be answered for the Phillies, but do you think it spells the end of maybe re-signing a guy like Harrison Bader? Maybe going out and getting that trade candidate in Byron Buxton or even Joe Adell? Do you think that's still in the cards with bringing in Garcia?
I do think so to an extent. I think they're going to have a shorter leash with Adolis Garcia. If he's struggling by the All-Star break, they're going to have to pivot. Like we talk about this championship window. You don't want to stretch it out and keep playing guys every day that aren't producing. But I think if anything, this move just shows the confidence that Dave Dombrowski and the front office have in Justin Crawford to go out there and play every day. This is a different kind of hitter that the Phillies have had. With Max Kepler, you were bringing in a left-handed hitting outfielder. You didn't have Crawford on the roster last year. So Crawford fills that need, and he brings speed that the Phillies haven't really had. At the bottom of the order, maybe Johan Rojas, but what Crawford can do offensively and putting the ball in play, it sort of offsets maybe the swing and miss that Adolis Garcia brings, and it just creates more of a balanced outfield. With Brandon Marsh, who against right-handed pitching, he's your left fielder. Against right-handed pitching, he hit 300 last year. I think that's a stat that goes overlooked at times. Like 300 is very good. So if maybe you work in Otto Kemp in left field, I think the Phillies have done enough with their outfield, but they shouldn't be content if it's June, July, and either Garcia or Crawford aren't producing out there.
I'm with you. It's going to be interesting. And we said Dave Dombrowski is still working the phones. He's going to try to continue to improve this team. And I think this is just another step forward for this Phillies team in 2026. Cole, thanks so much for your time, man. Looking forward to your work on NBC Sports Philadelphia.com and as well on future Phillies Talks podcast. Thanks again, buddy.
Thanks, Spencer. Appreciate it.
Welcome back to Phillies Talk, presented by Team Toyota. That's Sean Kane. I am Spencer McKercher. Hopefully you guys are having a good start to your week. 10 days before Christmas. Hanging in there. How's the shopping going, dude?
It needs to be.
Yeah,
same. It needs to get going. It needs to get rolling a little bit. Still got some things to get. Not so much for the kids, though. My wife kind of takes the lead on that. And, of course, Santa as well. But yeah, we've got some things to do, but we're all right. We're in a good place. This is nothing new to me. I'm always in that 10-day range where I can get some stuff done. Yeah, exactly. So getting there, though.
How was the your snow experience?
We got a lot. We got a lot where we live. I wasn't expecting as much. We got about 6 inches.
Wow.
So yeah, this was obviously Sunday morning. We woke up to about 6 inches. A lot of snow time in the backyard. Obviously, a lot of shoveling for me. Throwing the ball around with the guys.
Oh yeah.
And we got the sled out and snowman. All the normal stuff you'd expect to do for the 5 and 11-year-old crew. But but yeah, we got a lot. And then today, boys, my oldest son had a 2-hour delay. My little guy, he was off because he's just in preschool. So got themselves a snow day out of it. But yeah, we got a lot of snow, man. It was solid.
Yeah, we had a wedding on Saturday.
Okay.
Up in like North Jersey area. And we were going to leave the wedding that night. And then it was like 10 o'clock and we looked down and it was already coming down. Roads were covered. And I was like,
good.
We're staying.
Yeah. Good move.
So was sober.
Yes.
And then kind of was like, as soon as the decision was made that we're going to get a hotel room.
Yeah, now you're staying.
The tequila started running.
Nice.
So I'm still feeling it.
And you got home okay?
Got home okay. It was a little terrifying getting out.
Yeah.
But highways were fine. And we made it for a busy day on Sunday at Philly Sports with the Flyers, Sixers, and Birds all playing.
Good. All right. Very good.
So back to baseball.
Yeah.
Your opinions. So you were a little under the weather. We missed you down in the winter meetings.
Yeah, you guys did a great job.
Thank you, pal.
Great
It was,
job.
It was a
down
good
in
time.
Florida. Yeah, it was nice. You and Bob
We had a great time.
covered it all very well.
Yeah. We. I know there was some Rule 5 chatter that, listen, I was told that Griff McGarry might not be ready by the time the season starts, so that's why I said May. If you're listening to this and you understand.
Okay.
People are coming at me, man. Listen, the Rule 5 draft, 1, is confusing to begin with, and 2, I was just relaying what I was told down there, that McGarry won't be ready.
The machinations of the Rule 5 process and protecting guys in the 40-man and not protecting them and taking guys. And if you don't put them on your roster, they can be offered back.
Yep.
You know, it's a whole give and take. The Phillies have been active in the 40-man. They've had some great successes in the Rule 5.
Yeah.
Shane
Victorino. Bingo.
Dubes. Odubel Herrera. A little more recently. But yeah, it's an interesting thing. It's a real kind of inside baseball thing. The last thing down there, Rule 5 draft.
Sure.
I mean, don't get me started. I could go a half hour on the Rule 5
I mean, that's why we needed you, man.
Yeah.
That's why we needed you. So I'm not getting destroyed on YouTube comments.
Okay.
But no. So at least there was something to report down there, and Kyle Schwarber does return on that 5-year, $150 million contract, which you sent me the pod.
We predicted.
Was your exact prediction.
My exact prediction. 5 and 150, yes. Which was great. Like, obviously, we talked about that's what you want. That's priority number 1, and they got it done in a pretty timely fashion. Well, now they have time to plot their postseason or their off season from here. Adolis García being one of those moves. We'll see what other moves come down the road. But yeah, it would have been, I don't want to say a disaster, but it would have been rough if they didn't get that deal done. And Kyle Schwarber somewhere else, and now they're pivoting to who knows where Pete Alonso ends up. If not, the Phillies didn't sign Schwarber, or did they get in on Alonso? But we don't have to worry about that anymore because we got Kyle Schwarber. The Phillies did. And I think a couple other things down there. Seems like they're kind of locked in on Don Mattingly, which I think is a good thing.
Huge.
I think that was a big decision, or is a big decision, to bring in that bench coach and rearrange their coaching staff a little bit. And obviously there's ties there between Don and his son Preston, but also between Don and Rob Thompson, who got a contract extension as well. So that's good that Rob won't be a lame duck in 2026. And it seems like the JT thing is kind of, the way I gather it is, they have an offer out to JT. I'm going to guess that's a 2-year offer. JT maybe is holding out hope for a 3-year offer. If not from the Phillies, then who? But like we've said countless times, I just don't know who's offering him a 3-year deal if it's not the Phillies.
I couldn't tell
He's
you.
just so much more valuable to the Phillies at this stage of his career than I think other teams, just because of his familiarity with their pitching staff and his familiarity with their whole operation. Whereas, he's going to be 35 years old and his offense has declined. Like, what team from the outside is like, I'm going to give him 3 years and $45 million, for argument's sake?
The only team that I heard down there and that we talked about in previous pods is the Red Sox.
Okay.
But yeah, if you're the Red Sox, you're going to give a 3-year deal to that. You're going to platoon that guy.
Right.
Kind of split the days.
And he's not going to want like 3 years and $15 million. He's going to want like 3 years and
correct
$40 million
correct.
At least. I would think. Yeah, $45 million.
I was told, I'm glad that the Zielecki report came out too, that the Phillies did offer him. That's exactly what I was told.
Yeah.
And I expected a deal down there. But yeah, I don't know. JT, I think, is just kind of waiting things out here a little bit and maybe trying to get a better offer from somewhere else and then kind of put the pressure back on the Phillies. But it is interesting to think about the Phillies deal that they did offer him. Maybe it is 2 years. Mm-hmm. And he's waiting for that third. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's 2 years and $35 million if you want. Like, you know what I mean? Just 2 years and like 17 a year if you want 17, or obviously 2 and 30 would be great. But
I think it's going to be anywhere between like 15 and 18 a year.
Yeah.
So whatever that math is with
2 and 35.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah. There you go. There you go. We're not math guys here.
No,
not math guys.
No.
2 Golden Rams.
A lot of,
but not a lot of math going on in the old Westchester University.
Yes.
I took one math
major.
class.
Yeah.
I don't know if I told the story. I failed my very first math class there. Like, literally got a D. They're like, you have to retake this. So I retook it. But it was 8 a.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. In the spring.
Hey, listen, that academic calendar at Westchester University, I mean, that is tough sledding.
It's tough, man.
Not anybody gets a degree from there. Mm-mm. It's the Harvard of the PSAC.
That's exactly it.
It's
exactly
it. It's the crown jewel of those state institutions, man. Westchester U.
Story time too. The wedding, real fast. It was hilarious. It was like the bride getting married, went to Westchester. She was 2 years older than I was.
Okay.
Didn't know her in Westchester, and then the DJ was like, "Oh, everybody from Westchester, get to the dance floor." So I took my opportunity. This is when the tequila was flowing.
You got out there.
Tequila was going, so I went out there. And my girlfriend, Sophia, was not happy that I was in the picture with all these, like, 15 girls.
That's awesome.
She's like, you don't know. They don't want you in this picture. And I'm just in the corner.
Yeah, Golden Rams.
Rams up, baby.
Rams out there. You're out there.
She was not happy.
Yeah,
I was like, hey, she told me to get in there.
Yeah, exactly.
I got to represent
Golden
anytime.
Rams on the dance floor. You're getting on the dance floor.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
You'd never see me run faster. Never see me run faster. Going back real quick as we wrap up here.
Yeah.
So now with the addition of Adolis.
Yep.
Does that, in your opinion, take away Harrison Bader's return and or them going out and getting a solid center field bat, i.e. Byron Buxton, i.e. Joe Adell, something like that? And do you think that this could be, if they do bring back Bader, would that spell the end of Brandon Marsh if Justin Crawford is waiting in the wings?
I would think so. Because if they bring back if they bring back Harrison Bader, it's going to be to play every day, obviously, and they want Justin Crawford to play every day, and they just gave Garcia $10 million. So yeah, I would think if that's the case, then does Marsh become a trade guy? Where do you go from there? And does he bring in some bullpen help or wherever other area of the roster you want to address? So yeah, but no, I don't think that the Garcia deal, to answer your original question, kind of closes the door on Harrison Bader. Like, we'll see what his market is, and he's obviously doing the same thing JT is right now and kind of seeing what's out there. But if they feel that they can bring him back at a price that's agreeable and a length of a contract that's agreeable to him, I think they obviously got a pretty good look at him last year. He seemed to fit in really well. Now, I don't think you're going to expect him to come back here and hit 300 for the length of the contract like he did the last couple months of last season, but he's a really good center fielder. He seemed to fit in well in the clubhouse. He's got some pop. He's obviously a guy that's kind of discovered a little something at the plate these last couple of years, or at least last year. So no, I don't think so. If they can bring Bader back, then Bader, Garcia, and Crawford, maybe that's your outfield.
I'm here for it. I'm not optimistic, and that was the word of the winter meetings. Dave Dombrowski said optimistic maybe 40 times since we talked to him. I am not optimistic that Bader does come back, but I'm with you. I don't think this spells the end of the possibility of the return.
I'd put it less than 50-50, but I would have put it less than 50-50 a week ago.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because it sounds like they really want Crawford in left. Preston Mattingly did tell us that he sees him, could be a center fielder or a left fielder. I still think he's going to be a left fielder more than a center fielder.
Right.
And then, you do still have Yohan Rojas on the team, which I know some people won't like, but he's still a viable option. And a guy that we've brought up so many times, and that was brought up so many times down in the winter meetings. You still have Otto Kemp.
They like Otto.
They love Otto, dude.
They like Otto.
They love Otto. They've called him a tough son of a gun down there.
Yeah, well, tough. He was playing through some serious injuries apparently last year, a couple of them.
Got a shoulder procedure on his left shoulder and a procedure on his left knee as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, and he can hit, man, and he's an option from the right side of the plate, and he's got some pop, and they feel they can maybe play him a couple of different positions. Now, you can draw your own conclusions about how good of a third baseman he is defensively and how good of an outfielder he is defensively. But yes, I think they see value in him. Weston Wilson's still a guy that's in the mix, conceivably. We'll see what role he ends up having if he does have a role in 26. But yeah, I don't know. Like I still think something's happening coming down the pike in the outfield, and we'll see. But I just think they need to mix it up a little bit more, whether that's a Bohm trade or a Marsh trade or what have you. But I think the outfield, at least, like I said, at least you got right field kind of figured out. And obviously I think Nick moves on, but I don't think Nick's going to bring anything back that you can put in at the major league level. I think they're just trying to get anybody to take him and pay some of his salary. They might even have to include like a prospect with him to get somebody to pay his salary, which is crazy. But yeah, we're getting there. And the Garcia move, I think, was certainly a step to kind of clearing up the outfield picture a little bit, at least.
It is. And the Marsh thing is so intriguing because he's not a great center fielder.
No, he's a better left fielder defensively.
Way better left fielder defensively. But it's going to be interesting to see what they do, and it's going to be intriguing to see what they do. Because, God forbid you bring up Justin Crawford, and somehow Brandon Marsh isn't in your opening day lineup. And Crawford kind of struggles, and Brandon Marsh isn't even on the roster in general at some point. Maybe they're sitting back like, oh man, we made the wrong decision, because obviously we know what Brandon Marsh can do with his bat. Yeah, he had arguably his best year as a Philly last season. Should have batted 300 if he didn't have a crappy April. So I don't know. I can see Bader returning and then them going to Crawford, and that I think would spell the end of Brandon Marsh. But God, if you send Brandon Marsh in a trade and then all of a sudden Crawford doesn't perform the way you need him to,
right? Then where's your depth?
Bingo.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's
Fair
gonna
point. But yeah, Marsh, he said it. Like, he had a rough April, and he was much, much better. But I do think they're kind of running out of patience for him hitting left-handed pitching.
Sure.
You know, so if he's a guy, maybe he's a platoon guy with somebody, but they don't want to platoon Crawford. And if they bring back maybe center field, maybe he's a platoon guy in center field. If they put Crawford in left and they bring in player X that is a right-handed hitting outfielder, maybe they try that. But we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, there's names out there. Brenton Doyle was another name that was getting tossed around at the winter meetings with the Rockies that you could bring in, plug him in center field. And I don't know if you platoon Brandon Marsh and Brent Doyle in center, but it's an option.
Yeah.
And the Phillies will have options. And Dave Dombrowski's still on the phones, making calls. And man, I'm excited. The Garcia signing does everything for me that makes me feel good.
Yeah.
and that's
Well
the thing.
put.
You lose Bader.
Yeah.
So there goes your swag, but it comes right back with Garcia.
Yeah.
Instead of the pink and purple, you're going to see the neon.
Yeah.
Chains.
Mm-hmm.
The swagger from Adolis Garcia. I cannot wait, man.
Launch a few into the left field seats.
I think everyone that's questioning the decision to sign him right now is going to regret that decision by like June.
Okay. Wow. All right. You're big. You're in on Garcia.
Huge, dude. Huge.
Big Adolis guy. All right.
Going to make some sweet plays on the outfield. Gun some guys down to the plate.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
All right. Yeah.
If you're a
I
Phillies
like
fan, you're on the fringe, be excited.
Yeah, I give it a B, which is fine.
Okay.
I'm not going to be like, but like a B is a good move.
I'll
to
give
me.
it a B+. plus.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm with you.
All right.
I'm with you.
Okay.
All right, land the plane.
Land of the plane.
All right.
We're landing it.
Thanks for listening to the Phillies Talk podcast presented by Team Toyota. That's Sean Kane. I'm Spencer McKercher. We will talk to you guys at some point here soon. Obviously, it gets a little busy with the holiday season approaching. It's going to be a hectic few days here coming up. But
fair to say, if there's news that happens, we'll be here to talk.
We're
about
here. I was supposed to be off today.
Oh, wow. Were you really?
Thanks,
Look
Dave.
at you, man.
Yeah, come on now.
But yeah, hey, JT resigns. They trade Boehm. Like, you can expect us to.
Immediately.
We're on it.
Yep. As long as it doesn't happen like New Year's. And I'll be in the Poconos and not around.
Right. Maybe I'll just go solo on
Yeah,
that
could.
one. Yeah.
Could go solo.
I owe you a few after last week. I need to.
I know.
Yeah, you need some time off.
Welcome back, baby.
Uh-huh.
Welcome back. It's good to have Sean Kane back. It's good to be talking Phillies news, and it's big news in my opinion. Adolis Garcia to the Phillies on a 1-year, $10 million deal. Thanks for listening to the Phillies Talk podcast presented by Team Toyota. We will catch you guys hopefully next week. If not, everyone have a great holiday. We'll catch you guys right after that.